that you guys send me and make them in real time. So, a couple things have happened before I get into my video. I have started recording and I have figured out that I'm going to have to start clearing my recipes. So, guys, remember when I post these polls, vote. Don't just like the post and move on. Vote because I might end up having to lose that recipe later on if it's not one that you choose. So, with that being said, let's get into what you guys picked today. I have noticed you guys really are loving the whole mafia mobster recipes, and I got another one that was sent to me. This is spaghetti alla mafia di Sicilia, and when I got this recipe, I really liked it, but I was really confused. The measurements and the link is in the description. The measurements were in European, so I have kind of translated them. I have a pound of spaghetti. I have 4 cans of peeled tomatoes. Now you're supposed to use the San Maranzo or whatever they're called, but we're 358 and these are like 112. We're going with the cheaper ones. Sorry, I'm on a budget. If you guys don't like my ingredients, my support links, PayPal, Patreon, and Cashapp are in the description, and I'm allergic to negative comments, so they get deleted. So, 6 cloves of garlic. I have 1 elephant ear garlic, which I'm going to use, and the garlic is divided up. Other than that, I have minced garlic that I'm going to be using as well. 1 onion, uno onion, and then it had 10 ounces of olives. I do not like olives, so we are going to be using 8 ounces of fresh white mushrooms, and then 8 ounces of Parmesan. Have my Parmesan already. It's going to be divided up 1/4, 3/4 later. And then 3 sprigs rosemary. I have fresh rosemary here. And then, let's see what else. 2 teaspoons heaping oregano. Got lots of oregano. Fresh basil. Check. 2 eggs. Check. And then salt and pepper. Check. I'm going to be using pink Himalayan salt. I really like the flavor. I found a cheap grinder, so I'm excited about that. I do like the flavor of pink Himalayan a little more than what do you call it, kosher, and it's a lot finer. I think it has a lot more flavor to it. Butter. I got butter here, and then let's see, what else do I have? I have some olive oil, and I have Marsala wine. This is cooking wine. You do want to use 1 cup of red wine. Remember, when cooking wine, if you have alcoholics or children, always make sure it is boiling for 30 seconds to get the alcohol out of it. Honestly, I can't afford to use money on food, so the cooking wine it is. So with that being said, oh yeah, and don't forget the pound of beef or whatever other meat you want to use. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I do have a cooking thing here. I'm actually really liking these. I do like my wood one, but this is a lot more convenient and I can fling it around as needed. First thing it says to do is to prepare my sprigs of rosemary. So I'm just going to pop this open and pull out 3. And it says to finely chop them, but I'm not entirely sure I'm doing that. So here is 1, 2, yeah, that's 2, and 3. That's a lot of rosemary. Oh, this is going to be very fragrant. Actually smells like a Christmas tree in here. So here's my 3 sprigs. I'm going to go ahead, and I see where I want to chop them. So I'm just going to pluck these off the twig. Usually, they're not that hard to pluck off. This looks like it's giving me some problem here. But this is a lot fresher than I'm used to. I had rosemary for a while, but for whatever reason, I couldn't keep it alive. It dried out like right away. Oh, it smells so good. I cannot describe how well this smells. That's easiest. That's usually what I do is I just grab the top and then you can rip it down. Oh, that is working. And I see why I'm going to want to chop them up. They are huge. I'm trying to get as many little leaves as I can, or bristle or thistles or whatever you call them. So if you haven't, guys, remember to please subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is totally free. It helps to regulate my channel to other viewers. It helps to promote my channel, and it helps to just basically, you know, get me out there. It also helps people to learn how to cook, which is one of the big reasons why I do this. And again, it's absolutely free. If you do like what I do, I please encourage you to subscribe. Obviously you're subscribing. I please encourage you to check out my support links. Like I've said before, I have Patreon, PayPal, and Cashapp in the description. And things are getting kind of brutal if you are watching the news. I don't know if you have seen U.S. economy or if it's global economy. Things are getting slightly tight, and I do not want to have to go on hiatus again or shut down, as I've had to a couple times before. And I still need to get the starter for my car. So anything is appreciated, guys. And you know I absolutely love and adore all of you. I really do. So that being said, I have my sprigs ready, and I'm going to go ahead and chop them up. That's not the knife I want. I can use that knife. No, I'm not going to use that knife. It's not really my chop. Let me get that out. And it's not chopping. I'm bruising it pretty good, though. Why is it not chopping? So hold on. I got a plan. I don't have a plan. That's insane. There we go. It doesn't want to chop. But I gotta chop it. Let me try that other knife. There we go. It is really, really difficult to chop. But I'm getting it. I guess I need to sharpen that knife in a bit. I'm just trying to turn it some and do it again. There we go. Use my potato peeler that I hope to use later. All right, so here is my finely chopped rosemary. I'm going to chop some of it where I see the big pieces in it. Get that really fine and down. There we go. Like over here, this piece just does not want to chop. There we go. I probably should have used my wood board because this is very, very messy, but it is what it is. So that being said, I have plucked the needles and chopped them into pieces. Chopped the 2 cloves. Wait a minute. So here's the mincemeat, or as we call it in America, beef. So I'm gonna go ahead, and this is why I like the plastic so much. If I can get all of it on, there we go. Is you can actually pull this out, and I actually got 2 of these at the dollar store. They have been a total lifesaver for $1.25 each. And you just fold it, and you just put it in. So I got that done. And then 2 cloves of garlic, because remember we have 6 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the minced garlic for this because I don't feel like dividing garlic up. Now 1 clove is the equivalent to, usually says a teaspoon. So I got a little teaspoon, but I'm going to really, really heap it. I'm actually going to empty this one out. And I have this in the bowl with the meat. So there's pretty much a jar, or what's left of a jar of 1. And then I'm going to get a teaspoon out from the other because I picked up another one just in case. So here is my second one. And then I'm going to use a heaping teaspoon. Remember, you can never have enough garlic. There's no such thing. So put that away. Oh, stay up there, guys. Okay. So I got the 2 cloves of garlic. Mix everything with a little salt and pepper. So I'm going to go ahead. And I need to put this in the fridge. Don't let me forget, guys. So I'm going to put in some pepper. And before I do this, the salt. Okay. And I did find my pepper grinder. So it's here. That was a travesty that day. I couldn't believe that I had lost my salt pepper. My salt grinder. So I'm actually taking off my jewelry because I'm getting ready to stick my hands in here. Next is 50 grams of the Parmesan cheese. Well, the Parmesan cheese, you want 8 ounces. So it's 1/4, 3/4. So I need 2 ounces of Parmesan. I don't know how to measure that out. So I'm just going to basically call this it. Put that in. Next, I'm going to start mixing this up. My hands are clean. I washed them before the video. They're not going to be clean in a minute. So I'm just going to start mixing this up and around because I have all this stuff kind of like laying under the beef. So I want the beef kind of like spread out in the bowl, if you can see what I'm doing before I get to this next part. And I'm going to grab these eggs, and it's just 2 eggs because the eggs will get slimy and it'll glue everything together. Okay, now I got the eggs in here. And now, and don't worry about, I mean, if you can use a spoon, but that's kind of pathetic at this point in time. Okay, so I got nice juicy meat going on here. I'm going to start forming it into balls in a minute. And it says dumplings, but dumplings, basically, I don't understand European English, I guess. But basically, you're making meatballs. Why does it have... Okay. So the onion does not go into the meatballs. It goes into the sauce, which we're going to start making the sauce here in a bit. So I still have some gooiness to the eggs, which I'm really working on just getting that gooiness out and kneading these meatballs before I form them into meatballs. So let me get a paper towel real quick before I grab anything that I don't want dirty. All right. So I am going to grab my kind of large frying pan. Give me a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead, sear the dumplings with some margarine. I'm gonna grab some butter and I'm gonna go ahead and put the butter on for about putting it on a 3 right now. I just want to get the butter hot. And I am using a lot of butter because I don't want anything to stick. You can use how you feel or just, spray that down. So let me get, there we go. So next I'm just going to form the meatballs, and it doesn't say how big to make them. I can use oh, nice. I have my redactor stamp on my hand. So I'm just going to make them, put that butter around some. Come on. My hands are so gross, I don't even care at this point. So I guess I can put them down here, and then I will use something else to chop my onion in a bit. And these are very, very wet. I was expecting them to be a lot drier. Mix everything with salt and pepper. Hold on. I just want to make sure. So I knew it didn't feel right. Nowhere in this recipe is it listing what to do with the oregano. So it says 2 heaping teaspoons of oregano, and I think that's going to be what's needed to absorb a lot of this egg. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think this is about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add a lot of oregano in here. And if need be, I can add some to the sauce as well. That's going to need wiped and washed and disinfected later. So I went ahead and I put about 2 tablespoons of oregano into this because it's not ready. That feels a lot better because you don't want just pure egg. So what else is in here? Everything else is claimed and spoken for. The oregano was not listed anywhere. So yeah, this is a lot better. This is feeling better. And I hate touching stuff with dirty meat hands. So hold on. There we go. So now let's see how these form. And these are forming a lot better balls. That's the only way to explain meatballs, is they are balls. And I did put a little too much butter in that pan, but I do want it hot. So I'm actually going to turn it up to 4. Get that cooking some. And the smaller you make the meatballs, the easier they're going to be to cook. So I probably should take my own advice and make them a little smaller from here on out. I just want, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make little ping pongs instead of golf balls. There we go. And this part is probably the most tedious of the whole thing, but it is what it is. And we are getting it done. Okay. So I have been making about so far for 8 meatballs. I have a nice bit in the bowl still. I guess I'm gonna make about 12. No, it's gonna be more than 12, maybe 20, I don't know. But anyway, everyone's gonna have some nice meatballs with their spaghetti. And I'm actually really excited about this recipe. When I used when I did the bear spaghetti sauce, if you remember, I used crushed tomatoes and again the 28-ounce. And I think I used 1 or 2 cans, but this time I'm going to be using 4 cans, which kind of worried me in the beginning, but then I sat and thought about it, and I'm actually using whole tomatoes this time, whereas the crushed tomatoes would be more tomatoes per like volume, I guess. So it's going to even out. Or it's going to be very saucy and delicious, and maybe Europeans have different can sizes than we do. So I don't officially know. And that's starting to melt. I don't want the butter to burn, so I'm going to put it back on 3. But now that is ready to start searing my meatballs as soon as I get them formed. And I got a lot of gunk like on my hand. It's like the fat and the egg is starting to stick. So I want to get a nice even amount of meatballs so everybody in the house has the same amount and there's no like unfair distribution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So, but 15, 16 would be. Well, you know what? I can have one to try. So I have made 17 meatballs, right? Actually, I can put a little more on some of these and keep it at 16. And I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, I can. So make some of these babies a little bigger. My hands are so gross. And where was that other little one I saw? I think I'll put you on here. Make you a little bigger. Okay. Boop. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start these in the butter. Now, every stove, oven, and thingy is different. I tend not to cook anything unless I am on 4 or 5. So as soon as I get these babies on, I'm going to pump my skillet up to a higher degree. And to be completely honest, I looked over this. I probably, if I was doing this and not following a recipe, I would definitely be using my cast iron in this in the oven. But I have a feeling that you kind of want the meat to cook slightly in the sauce too. But I'm not sure. So we're gonna do this and see what happens. So now I have got to wash my hands. All right, hold up. All right, put the strainer there for safekeeping. I did not use you, but I might use you. So stay over here. So let me move this strainer real quick. I put that in there for later. Obviously, I put it in too soon. Okay, now let me wash my hands. I apologize. Oh, so messy. And I got like all that basil and oregano stuck on me. Oh, it was so fun. I'm using dish soap and the hottest water that I can stand. Oh, I need to degrease. All right. And this is one of the things I don't like about meatballs is it's like it doesn't seem to distribute the meat into the pasta. At least that's my own like theory, and I always just put meat in my sauce and not bother with meatballs per se. Like I said, that's just me. Oh hey, look, I can use this. It is so slimy. I can't wait till I feel like my hands are human again. So while I have that going, and I forgot about it, I'm going to go ahead, and like I said, I'm going to cover it so they cook evenly, and pump them up to about 4.5, actually, out of I think it goes up to 8. I need more soap. I feel so scuzzy. Like, degrease me, baby. Degrease me. All right. I think that's good. I still feel slimy, but I'm definitely a disinfected slimy. Look at that. It's just like caked on my hands. Let me grab another paper towel. Oh. Okay, now next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to chop that onion. And after I get the onion chopped, I'm going to flip all the meatballs. So let me just... And I'll wash my hands again when I'm done. Everything's going to cook hot enough. I just still like... I don't want the raw meat on everything. So I got my wood board here. There we go. Got this. And remember to always try to preserve your wood. I'm just going to put some olive oil here. That's way too much olive oil. And just spread that into the wood. Massage it to try to preserve it. Okay, next I'm going to start my onion. And I'm going to take both tips off and then cut it in half, and it's easier to peel. But definitely want this finely chopped, aka diced. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, and if you haven't already, please remember, please subscribe. Like I said, subscribing helps me out so much, and it means so much to me, guys. It's not even funny. And like I said, it helps my channel grow. I'm almost to 800 subscribers, which is awesome. At 1,000, I can start looking into monetization. Again, awesome sauce stuff I need. But if you want to go ahead and support me, my support links are in the description, but that's not required of you. Just being here and subscribing is totally enough. And I'm going to wash this off, 5-second rule. Okay, no hair, it's completely clean. I scrubbed it. And honestly, guys, if this was a professional kitchen, I would be utterly disgusted. But I know my floor, I know my household. No hair on it. All good. So I'm going to go ahead. And again, if that disturbs you, I'm sorry. Yeah, this knife is definitely dull. But that's okay. Okay, next I'm going to just keep dicing. And my hand is actually slippery. Hold on. It's not helping me much. I think I go through more paper towels in these videos than I do any other time. And that's okay because you guys are totally worth it. I also have, my board is not entirely even right now the way I have it sitting, which is also making it slightly difficult. Okay, last piece of the onion. Okay, that's a nicely diced onion. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dice up the clove. Now, I like the elephant's ear garlic because it is a nice big piece of garlic to work with. And this is about 4 cloves worth, which, if you remember, we were supposed to put 2 in the meatballs. Oh, I forgot to turn my meatballs. Give me 1 sec, guys. After I got this completely de-papered. Okay. Go ahead and turn these. And they are squishy. They are kind of falling apart. I'm just using tongs and flipping them gently. They are cooking a lot more evenly than I expected. They're not sticking. They are actually pretty perfect at this point. But I'm definitely turning them because they're starting to have kind of like a lip on them, and I don't want that either. Okay, my meatballs are turned. I love the way they look. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut the tip off my garlic. And next, I'm actually going to use a potato peeler because it gives me like the right amount of thickness that I want. And this is actually something, I forget where I saw it, but it has been working out fabulous for me. When it gets down to the point that you can't hold it anymore, go ahead and chop it. But this makes a nice, it's a nice thickness tool. And it does take longer, but like I said, the results I cannot argue with. So, and if you have trouble holding it, obviously don't do it, but I just like to get it done. And you are going to end up chopping it anyway. This just makes, like I said, it's got a nice, consistent thickness to it. And you can rotate and hold the garlic any way you can as long as you do so safely. This works. Now that I've practiced a little, I think I'm a little better than I was the first 2 times I tried to potato peel garlic. And like I said, there's no way to do this. Just, whatever end you want to work on, whatever angle. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just chop it. If you want to use the 6 cloves, use the 6 cloves. I personally like the garlic press, but I do not have one of those right now. And I really don't feel like buying a new one because I always break them. So I've just been kind of going along with the potato peeler or whatever I feel like doing. So I am getting really close to my fingers. If you notice, I have over half of the garlic chopped up with the potato peeler. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting it down with my knife. And I'm holding it together as I cut. And if you notice, it's a little thicker than what I have pulled with the potato peeler, but that's okay. So go ahead and chop this up. And again, it's not helping that my cutting board is at an angle, but that is what I have right now. So and dice the garlic as small as you can, because remember, it is garlic. It's going to have a nice punch to it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and chop that up again because I'm seeing some really big pieces. Okay, so now that I have these chopped, I'm going to put them in olive oil in a saucepan. Now, the directions did say a saucepan, but looking at what I'm doing, I'm going to need a little more than a saucepan. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move my meatballs back a burner and keep them on. I have them on 4.5. I'm going to put them on 4.5 back here. Ooh, move my rosemary. So I'm going to keep this on the 3 that it is. And I'm not using a saucepan. I'm actually going to use a little bigger pan because of what I am doing. I'm going to be putting a lot into this pan. Excuse me. So I'm going to add some olive oil. And the burner is already hot. So next I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this up to about 5. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start sauteing these onions and garlic. And like I said, remember I said how much I like the plastic cutting board? It makes things a lot easier. It really does. Because I can't bend this one up the way I want to. So, oops, go ahead and I'm going to grab the last of that. Go ahead and give this a stir. Make sure everything is sauteing evenly. And like I said, it says a saucepan, but I need a lot more room than a saucepan is going to give me. So I have the little, whatever you call it. Let me get some more of this juicy garlic that seems to have stuck to everything. Make sure I do not waste. Awesome. So now that I have that in, let the oil get nice and hot, but don't let it burn. Remove from the saucepan from the hot plate and add, the onions to the hot oil. Oh, well, I just did that. So we're going to do it a little differently than it suggests. I need to. It's hot in here. Sorry, guys. So just before they turn translucent, add the garlic. Well, I just messed that completely up. And then it says just before they turn translucent, add the garlic, and then put dumplings in the pot and deglaze with red wine. Bring to a boil for approximately 2 to 3 minutes. Well, like I said, we got this a little mixed up, so I'm just going to keep going until the onions turn translucent, and then I'm going to add those. Wait a minute. Okay, I see. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, it's going again where it's not listing all my ingredients and all my steps. So these are starting to get pretty translucent. If you can see, they're nice and white. So while I have that going, and I did it wrong, but who knows? Who cares? It'll be good. While I have that going, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my 1 cup of cooking wine. Oh, that onion is killing my eyes. And my hands are, of course, too oily into everything else that I have done. There we go. So I have a cup of what should be red wine. Like I said, I'm using Marsala wine. You can get it with food money, so it works. Okay, I'm going to give this one more stir. It is pretty translucent, and it is burning me. It's not the cutting, it's the cooking of the onions that's getting me lately. I don't understand. So now that I have these done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my meatballs, which I'm going to turn this off now. Okay. And the meatballs have turned out very nice. The butter has actually absorbed a lot of the fat, so you can kind of shake them off as you get them in here. And this is actually turning out a lot better than I expected. I kind of expected the meatballs to fall apart, but I'm really glad that they didn't. So I'm going to go ahead, have those on, and then add this. And I'm reading it. I want to boil for 2 minutes. And this is deglazing. And then once it's bring to a boil and have it boil for 2 or 3 minutes. So while I have that going, I need to go ahead and open these cans of tomatoes. And my lovely, lovely can opener that barely works. Woo! So we figured the trick to it is don't push down on it all the way. Just kind of feed it slightly. Yep, like I said. Push lightly and just turn it. There it goes. Okay, that is boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it, actually these are kind of full. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the timer. So I have that on for 3 minutes. Go ahead and open another can here. Oh my God, it's working! It is actually working! So it says to chop them and add them when it's time. Ooh, Ooh, I can smell that wine. Okay. I don't know what has happened to my can opener. It wasn't working. Now it is working. I'm not complaining. I am taking it for granted. Woo! All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to de-juice one of these cans. Because it says to chop them. Chop the canned tomatoes and add them to the saucepan with the oregano. So that's where I add the oregano. Okay. Well, I will add more oregano. You can't have too much oregano. So let me go ahead and chop these. I'm just going to half them. There we go. Just like that. Just quarter them, basically. I really didn't half them. And again, this would be so nice with the plastic. When I was looking through the instructions, I couldn't find the oregano listed at all. And I was like, that's not right. So to make room, I'm actually going to put these back in the can right now. Messy, messy, messy. And there's a lot more room in the can, which is what I kind of suspected when using the crushed tomatoes. It's more tomatoes than using, I lost a piece, but it is gone. It's going to be more tomatoes with it being crushed rather than whole peeled. And I'm not a fan of dumping out the juice like that, but whatever. I'm putting my knife in them and they're going squish. You know what? Okay, that's that. So I've let it go for 3 minutes. I'm not really a fan of going further than that, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to dump these tomatoes in. I'm going to drain them first. It's a lot of juice to lose. But, I mean, if it gets to be too much, I can just kind of grind it later. Okay. Not only that, if I break up the tomatoes, I break up the tomatoes. No big whoop. I am going to dump this one whole one in. And this is what I was afraid of. If I had used the saucepan, this would not be working right now. Because already it's not big enough. So I don't know what kind of massive saucepan you need. So chop them and put them in the saucepan with the oregano. So I'm just going to go ahead. And like I said, I already got this grossed out. You know what? That's not going to work. That's too much for that pot. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the bigger pot. And you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to rip these up. Actually, that's not working. I'm going to go ahead and cut them up. And turn this off while I do. That way I don't have it overheating and burning. So I am going to end up cutting up these tomatoes. Which I don't understand. I could have just bought diced tomatoes. Why it said whole tomatoes, I don't know. This was horrific. But I do kind of like the chunkiness of it. This is probably the biggest mess I've ever had. It looks like somebody has committed murder on my cutting board. I think I bit off a little more than I could chew with this recipe, but I have a feeling after the last Sicilian spaghetti I made, I'm going to be happily surprised. And that the walnuts with everything just tasted so amazing. I couldn't believe it. And it looks like there's about 8 tomatoes a can, I think. Not entirely sure. I should have counted, but it is whatever. No, actually, there's way more than 8, probably like 12. This is one of the reasons why I wasn't worried about dumping out the sauce, just because it's so much. And I already have the tomatoes are warm, so like I said, I don't want anything really burning. That's why I turned it off. If it gets to be too hot, I will abort this. But actually, now that I'm cutting, a lot of the seeds are coming off, and that is awesome. I don't really think anybody likes tomato seeds in their pasta. So this is getting a little too hot. I'm going to have to stop cutting these up in a minute if you saw that squirt. And I can see some steam coming out of it too, so it is. And this video is almost an hour long, so haven't been working on it too hard. I got tomato juice dripping down my counter. Hold up. I'm going to do some damage control here. Okay. Still very sloppy, but better than what it was. Okay. Woo! Like I said, I'm just quartering these tomatoes. And then I'm going to actually wash this pot out and use this pot for the spaghetti. So this did not go as planned. Like I said, I was really worried about the saucepan not being big enough. Apparently the pot's not big enough either. So you need a monster for this sauce. And I think it said the serving is 8. Well, if it's a mafia recipe, you might be serving a lot of people or a big family. I'm not really Sicilian, but after I discovered last week, I really do enjoy Sicilian food. I should probably give you guys an update. My neighbor has still been in the hospital. She did have a heart attack. Currently in a coma. And they have taken her off life support, and so far she has been on her own. She's not out of the coma yet, but we shall see. And where she lost her son last week, if anything happens, I'm just going to call it the fates. She went back to her son, so, I mean, I'll miss her, but it is what it is. So I'm starting to feel the meatballs when I went for a tomato there. And these tomatoes are obviously slightly warmer. Still trying to grab some full ones, but I think I'm down to the bottom of the full ones. So I think I've cut them all up. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to say I did. Okay, now that I got these in, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn this back on to 5. And now I have it dripping down my counter, not just my cutting board. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on 5. I'm going to carefully dump the contents of this one into that one. And honestly, the meatballs are kind of solid. If they break up, it wasn't meant for it to be. And I can wash this pan out and use it for my spaghetti. No worries. Now I'm a little worried because I did want everything under the tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the rest of that oregano. And I'm going to give it a light stir because I want the meatballs in the sauce. And I probably should have used a little of the tomato juice to do so, since this is just a huge, huge pot. So I've turned this back on 5. Oh my God. Oh, messy. Oh my God. Yeah, you know what? You just sit in the sink for a while. Think about your mess. I think I'm out of paper towels after this video. Oh God. I'll get the floor in a bit. So, sorry, I'm hot. So, okay, got the canned tomatoes, put them in the saucepan with the oregano, half the olives. Now, I did not get olives. Like I said, I'm not a fan of olives. I'm substituting out the mushrooms, so I'm going to put the mushrooms in here. And this says to simmer for an hour. Stirring every now and then so that it does not stick. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stir this up. And I'm going to let it go. I'm going to make sure this tomato, and maybe I probably should have used all the cans. That is definitely on me. But now I know, and knowing is half the battle. It just didn't make sense to me to cut the tomatoes, and how would I have done that? So we got the mushrooms in here. I will see you guys in 45 minutes. It's just a little too long to continue the video. I'm probably going to do a short because all I have to do at this point is just drain the pasta and then throw the tomatoes in it and put basil on. So that's probably going to be a short. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please remember to subscribe, like my channel, share, comment. If you really, really like what I do, please support me. My Patreon, PayPal, and Cash App is in the description. I'm also on TikTok. All of everything is EmberBurnsBlack. I love you guys. Stay gorgeous and bye.